this journey, won't you? You're listening to In the Mix.
Hey there, what's up everybody? It's Myxter Hyde. Welcome back to In the Mix. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys listened to last week's episode. I saw that quite a few people had downloaded it, and that made me pretty happy to see. I'm very, very pleased that people liked listening to my conversation with Kenyon and Lucy, and I can't wait to share today's conversation with you. But before we get there, there's something that I wanted to talk about. So I guess we'll just jump right into the In the Mix segment this week. Now, so if you've been paying attention to the news and you've been paying attention to just things that are happening around the world right now, things that are happening in the media, you've probably noticed that there are a bunch of comedians winding up in trouble, managing to get themselves in all kind of insane strangeness, whatever. So, I wanted to talk about this for a second. I've noticed that a lot of people are just sort of giving comedians carte blanche to say whatever they want irresponsibly, and also giving comedians just sort of the okay to say awful things, with the only excuse for saying those awful things literally being their job, except their job is not to say crazy offensive things. Their job is to make people laugh, so that's weird. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about with that is this. I've loved comedy since I was a child. I enjoy laughter. I rather do. I really think of stand-up comedy as an art form that people, have to really practice and get good at. And I think that there is a thing within comedy that I've seen it a few times, which is that at a certain point, instead of doing material that you're really actually proud of, you wind up doing material that just sort of appeals to a much smaller audience. You do jokes that are less classy, jokes that don't make people think, jokes that don't really push any sort of envelope other than one in which you're trying to be offensive. In some way, shape, or form to some person. That, to me, is lazy. Now, let me clarify. When I say that I've loved stand-up for as long as I have, what I mean is that I've listened to stand-up for as long as I have, and I've been listening to stand-up comedy, honestly, since I was 11, so that's roughly 16 years at this point. I've been listening to stand-up comedy for as long as I can possibly remember, and there is a way to craft a joke in a way that makes people think, in a way that makes people lean in and listen, in a way that really engages people. One of my absolute favorite comedians, and she, I think, is going to remain one of my favorite comedians, is Margaret Cho. Margaret Cho, by and large, has not really said a whole lot that is offensive unless you disagree with her political views specifically. She doesn't really go out of her way to insult full, entire-ass groups of people. Why? Probably because she's a minority and knows what that feels like and knows that that fucking sucks. Probably, just going off on a limb there. But the way she can craft a joke and the way she can tell a story is really engaging. I still go back and listen to all of her specials, all the time. And I do that because she's good at what she does. She is fascinating, she is wonderful, and I think that more people could learn from her, could stand to learn from her. Now, at the same time, I do know that Margaret Cho would probably point out, if I was talking to her right now, would probably point out that one of her favorite comedians was Joan Rivers, who, well, okay, is definitely one of those offensive comics that I was just talking about. One of those, but even Joan Rivers could craft a joke in such a way that even if she was insulting people, she wasn't insulting a full group of people for no reason. Now, I'm gonna look at another comedian here who I think had the potential to do really good material, but then just tipped into awful very quickly, which is Lisa Lampanelli. Now, here's the thing about Lisa Lampanelli. She's also called the Queen of Mean. Lisa Lampanelli, I haven't found her funny for years. And the reason I haven't found her funny is her jokes all seem to rely on weird prejudicial stereotypes around black people, gay people, and, like, Asian people. And that's pretty much it, like, just over and over again. To me, it doesn't actually seem like the effort to craft a joke is in there. You're just appealing to the base nature of the audience and the stupidity of the audience, when you're also, by the way, not looking out into the audience to see the very faces of the people who are in the audience. Like, admittedly, you probably look out and you see a sea of white faces because for one reason or another, that happened to be the tickets that were sold that week or whatever. But there's more than just that group of people in the audience. Making white people laugh is not the only thing that a comedian is supposed to do. A comedian is supposed to make as many people laugh as possible. Now, a comedian also has a special kind of responsibility. One of the ways that I teach is through laughter. When we laugh at things, and when we experience things that are funny, those memories, I find, stick with us for so much longer than memories that we don't give a fuck about or that made us sad. Or maybe both of them stick around, but to be honest with you, I find I learn more if I have been smiling and laughing the whole time through. And there are a great many comedians who are awesome at teaching me something about either myself, or maybe even just about them. But those comedians understand the power of laughter and the power of a good story. And they want someone to go away with a feeling at the end of their show. If that feeling is, hey, I laughed a little, that's awesome. But most of them, I think, want people to feel more than just, oh, I laughed a little, great. No, we want them to walk away feeling satisfied with everything that they saw. You can't please everybody, this is very true, but you can also seek to not piss everybody off as well. And not even necessarily everybody, but just... okay, so I wanted to talk about a few other things. So, well, I guess a few specific cases of this, which, so, Kathy Griffin. Now, Miss Kathy, oh dear, it was, like, I get it, I think, kind of. That's not a, like, this has not been a thing that's only been done by one person. Like, we've seen this kind of thing before, but is that really helpful? Like, you have to understand, when you have a public identity, when people can see you, when people, not only when people can see you, but when people know for a fact that you do in fact stand for something, that you aren't just a comedian, you aren't just a person that makes people chuckle and nightclubs and bars or whatever, that you actually do have a human soul and feelings. You have to understand that when you have that public identity, this kind of thing can be destructive to other people. I don't give a fuck about Baron Trump. I genuinely don't. If he cried or whatever at seeing that image of his dad, first and foremost, I don't know why he was browsing the internet by his damn self. because to be quite honest with you, there's a whole bunch else on the internet that he probably shouldn't be seeing if you don't want him crying about his father. But anyway, now, I think that, oh dear, I don't know quite how to word what I'm trying to say, but I think it just, the time was wrong, the tone was off, and, I will say, though, in general, the spirit of it, which is treat this man the way he treated the Obamas during the entirety of their presidency, or of Barack Obama's presidency, like, treat them like that, so that they understand how it felt back then, that makes a whole lot of sense to me, but also, I've never fully believed in an eye for an eye, and the reason I don't believe in that is, there's the rest of that saying is an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, and that's truly what I think of when I think of that. Now, I also think that, voicing our displeasure at our really, honestly, our really exorbitantly shitty president, I think that that's an important thing that we continue to voice that, and I think that's an important thing that we voice literally everywhere, and in any way we can. I just don't know that, threatening, or not even threatening assassination, but sort of, imagining for a photo shoot that an assassination had occurred. I don't know that's the right tone that you want to set, that feels off, that feels just off to me. Now, the second person I want to talk about is Bill Maher. So, there's a whole lot here, in general, that's fucked up. Not the least of which is a white man calling himself a house nigga. That's not... There is in no way, shape, or form any way in which that is an acceptable thing. Simply because you are a comedian, that does not give you carte blanche to use hateful terminology towards another person. It doesn't. Being a comedian does not mean that you just get carte blanche to be an asshole. That's literally not how the world works. So, instead of people standing up for him and saying, he's a comedian and comedians get to push the envelope. No, that's not what that was. That was him being a racist fucktard. And you don't get to hide behind a joke for that, first and foremost. And second of all, that wasn't even a fucking joke. Like, that's a joke, again, requires craft and requires being, it requires, first of all, being actually fucking funny. If what you are saying is supposed to be a joke, but yet it is not funny, then that's not a fucking joke. It's a statement that you made that was fucking stupid. And, oh god, it's just so dumb. And false apologies are also stupid, just to throw that out there. If you were listened to this week on The Friend Zone, you will sort of understand what I'm talking about here, about the fake apologies and the shit that these people are saying. I don't know. Grand scheme of things, I just want us to understand the fact that comedy is not a shield. Just like no other career is a goddamn shield for this kind of thing. Like, if I were a plumber and I just have... Oh, actually, no, I can't finish that analogy. There's no way that would have ended in a way that was not disgusting. Oh, God. I just find myself being disappointed. Like, people who are capable of good joke craft in general, I find it very disappointing when they don't do it. You have material in you. I know you do. How about you use that? How about you use that instead of saying shitty things about other people? That saying shitty things about other people is fucking boring. End of story. Instead of that, try to do something maybe a little more interesting. Try to be the kind of person that is actually funny, that can tell an actual good joke, and that can honestly really deliver what we want as a crowd and what we need as a crowd. Which also occasionally could mean maybe don't talk politics briefly, because politics are triggering for some people, or not necessarily triggering, but maybe maybe comedy is one of those things that we are using to get away from politics. So making all of your stuff political serves to let me know that I don't have to pay attention to you. And with all of that in mind, I wanted to make a recommendation for a podcast to listen to if you are a fan of stand-up comedy and you do like stand-up comedy with a conscience. I would like to recommend Cameron Esposito and Rhea Butcher and their podcast, which is called Put Your Hands Together. That is a wonderful show. I've listened to actually every single episode at this point. I'm pretty proud of myself. I spent a lot of time laughing at it. And what I've also found is that it has taught me a lot about comedy in general. I do plan on hopefully before the end of this year, before the end of summer, maybe if I can figure that out, but definitely before the end of the year, doing stand-up for the first time. I want to do it. I've wanted to do it for years. I just didn't think I had material, and then I started teaching, and then realized that some of my teaching stuff is genuinely actually just material. But anyway, so if you want to listen to stand-up comedy on a weekly basis, go check out Put Your Hands Together by Cameron Esposito and Rhea Butcher. I will leave that in the comment section down below. So with that, I just want to, in general, say, have a conscience when you are... Have a conscience. Just have a fucking conscience. I think that's not too much to ask from another human being. And with that, I want to bring you guys this amazing conversation that I had with Lucy, continuing the ongoing series, which is, interviews with Wine and Crime. So the Wine and Crime crossover is happening right now. Lucy from Wine and Crime is really amazing. She was really fun to talk to. Honestly, we talked for a really long time after this went off the air. And genuinely, she's a really funny person. We text all the time now because she's awesome. Anyway, so listen to this here, and next week I will be back with Kenyon. I'll be back with Kenyon next week. But for now, here, check this out. Okay. I was literally in the middle of saying something before that, and I forgot what it was. This is the time. This is the time at which I forget everything.
You're talking about how great your life is.
Oh, right. I was gonna ask you guys what you do during the day.
Like our day jobs?
Yes, that's the question.
I am an editor at a food magazine.
Yes, queen.
So I'm not gonna say which one, but it's super fun. So I just edit recipes, and today I got to go to 2 different taste panels. So we go down to the test kitchen where they prepare the dishes that we're doing the recipes for, and we get to eat it.
Yes, queen.
They
My
this
God.
needs less lemon zest, this needs more mashed potatoes, this needs whatever. So that's super fun, and I basically haven't had to buy lunch in over a week. Because we've just had endless tasting panels. So
that sounds so wonderful. I'm actually a little bit jealous though. I would trade one of my jobs for sure for that.
I'll trade you this for Merman.
Ooh, well, okay, maybe not that one. Maybe not. Oh man, but that sounds so much fun.
It's
man,
super fun. And the best part is when you get food samples in the mail. Today I came home with 3 boxes of what are basically Hot Pockets, but made with organic foods and smart flour and whatever. It's healthy. It's a healthy version of a Hot Pocket, so I'm all fucking over that.
Yes, queen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I love it. That sounds so wonderful.
The other day I got a stuffed animal in the mail, but it wasn't an animal. It was a piece of cheese.
What?
A big wedge of Swiss cheese with eyes and a mouth, but it's in like plush form.
Oh, okay. I had a completely different image in mind. I literally thought it was like a stuffed teddy bear made out of like cheddar. Which I'm like, wait, how the fuck does that work? But it also sounds wonderful. I just thought of how to make that work.
I would eat that teddy. I would eat it.
The problem is in my brain how it would work. It wouldn't be like it would be tasty, but it wouldn't be like soft and. Oh my god! Actually, I fixed it. I fixed it in my brain. I love cooking. Like that's one of my additional things that I would do if I like had the energy when I got home at the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Ooh, energy. Like,
Mm.
this is why I need to just sign up for Blue Apron, but I ain't got the.
Blue Apron is wonderful.
It is.
All of the, like most of those services are really cool.
Absolutely.
They're
Like they are a little expensive. Like I was looking at the Blue, and also I feel slightly judged at the fact that you can't just get it for one person.
I know.
It's always for
can't.
couples.
It's
I'm like,
oh,
well...
you're a family of 4? I'm like, no. The kids can cook for themselves. It's just for me.
Like, this is mine. Absolutely, entirely only mine. This belongs to nobody else. Nobody.
But I suppose, like, it really just teaches you how to cook, and it helps you build your confidence. So you might only need to order a month or so worth of Blue Apron or some service like that to just build up your basics. Because then, yeah, I'm assuming that a lot of those recipes are super flexible. So you could just substitute, the protein or whatever, the vegetables or whatever, and like you figure it out pretty quickly. Like cooking is one of those things you just have to do it until you figure out the basic methods. Like you don't need to memorize a recipe. That's not really what cooking is,
Yeah, that does totally make sense too. Absolutely. I love that the services exist. It is more that like the other thing too is that I will just I live like 2 doors down from the grocery store and have no problem going into the grocery store. Actually, that's not true. The only time I have a problem with it is I used to work there. So I know everyone that still is there.
You used to work at the grocery store. Maybe that's why all the old people assume you still do work at the grocery store.
Well, okay, but it's in different grocery stores. Like,
oh, okay.
There are 2 chains in the store.
Like,
yeah.
No, it's because I'm black.
It is 1000% because I'm black. Because, okay, it happened to me in Staples. And Staples? Yeah, the Staples uniform is like bright-ass red.
Yeah.
Or blue
it's like
in some
Target.
places. But like, yeah.
I mean, like, you know who fucking works at Target.
Precisely.
Target.
So, like, I'm in there, and this dude just grabs my arm and is like... And that was the part I had a problem with, was he grabbed my arm and it's like...
Don't touch me?
Exactly. Ooh, I was like, oh... Not today, sir.
No.
Absolutely not. I actually got belligerent with him a little bit. I'm like...
Yes, you did.
This is the... Oh, yeah. Like, he grabbed my arm and was like, where are the paper towels? And I'm like... Sir, I'm gonna need you to pause for 1 second. Oh hey, yo, Brian! And like, called over my friend. His name isn't Brian, but whatever. So I called him over. I'm like, you see this man here? This man is Brian. Do you see what he is wearing? He is wearing a Staples uniform with a name tag and a lanyard and a headset and a whole bunch of other things. So I want you to look at my wardrobe right now. I am wearing sweatpants. Also, it is so rare that I wear sweatpants, but I was wearing sweatpants.
Oh, I
that day.
will not judge you. I did not judge you.
I appreciate that. No, it was more that like this is how bad this was. I was literally wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Oh my god.
And I was like, even if I did somehow magically work here,
right,
there is zero reason for you as a human being to touch me in any sort of way in this store. Were we in New York, that kind of thing would get you stabbed.
Yes.
Literally just leave
Yes,
the
sir.
store. Like, I'm like, I'm going to the Staples. Like, that's a half hour away. Fuck this. I ain't got time for this
Right.
nonsense.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my God.
so I can kind of sympathize with the you're prettier when you smile thing, because it feels like that feels similar there.
Yeah, they're just assumptions on other people's parts where your initial reaction is to just say, "Hey, fuck off." Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is my instinctual reaction. But actually, similarly, a couple months ago, I was in Chicago and I was at a restaurant and I was ordering food to go. So I had ordered off the menu and I was standing near the bar, but I was wearing like jeans and a sweatshirt or some, I wasn't like dressed up or anything. And again, the restaurant people had their uniforms on. And this woman was like, "Hey, excuse me, hey." And I kind of thought she might have been talking to me, but I was also in a really antisocial mode, so I was just like not making eye contact or anything.
Mm-hmm.
She walks over to me and she goes, "Excuse me, where's the bathroom?" And I'm so polite that I led her to the bathroom.
Girl.
I never even informed her that in fact I don't work here. I was like, "Oh, well, I actually do know where the bathrooms are. I'll just show you."
See, I'm that same type of way, because I like it. It actually was very weird that I did just like call over my friend and tell.
I know. I'm
like,
super impressed with that.
I'm like, it was so weird that I did that, because normally I'd be like, "Girl, it's in aisle 3."
Right.
Like, the other reason that like I do that, and I realize this, is me being in stores in general. In the area I live in Massachusetts, which seems to most people to be a haven of liberalism, except no.
I've been to Massachusetts.
So like, like I live in Western Massachusetts. I am in bumfuck nowhere, and and I love that. I love this place. Born and raised here, I love it a lot. But good God, like, woo, like. All of those things that that people have been talking about forever, like how people how store clerks follow black people around in stores. It is like this place did not get the memo that was not okay to do. So that happens. Oh yeah, that happens in every fucking store I go into.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And it's happened to me since I was a child. So
prime shoplifting age, 4.
Yeah. And I ain't never shoplifted once in my damn life, but I have thought about it on a petty
at least out of spite.
Exactly.
Like,
I was like, I thought about it because
expect me to steal something? I'm gonna fucking steal something.
It's like, you expect me to steal something. I'm gonna wait for the one moment where you're not looking up and steal the most expensive shit in the store. I've thought about that, but I'm like, I'm not gonna be that petty because I will get arrested, and hell no.
Yeah,
but like
probably, and maybe beaten on the way down. Like,
precisely. Like, oh God. So like, since I was a child, I've gone into any store with like a game plan of knowing exactly where everything is, going and finding those things, and then getting the hell out that store. And I'm usually out of most stores in like 10 minutes, which is honestly a skill. So I'm not mad at that. But I'm also a little pissed at the reason I had to develop it.
Yeah, you fucking have to do that, and that's not okay. I mean, I guarantee you that most white people have no fucking idea that any given black person, just because they're black, has to make that game plan before they go into literally every store. Like, I've heard people say that before, and like I've heard that situation before, but I think that most people are unaware of the fact, okay, so I'm afraid, I don't like to go outside and walk alone at night just because I'm a female. But it's kind of, it's a lot similar, except I have the advantage of being white, I guess, so that if something did happen to me, then I would probably get treated better by the authorities, or by, I'd be given the benefit of the doubt in almost any situation. where I think that is the difference. If I were black and if something happened to me, then I would be very, very easily dismissed or accused of something else.
That is 1000% true. I was actually I was having a conversation with a person that I occasionally do some consulting with, or rather, correction, who does consulting with me on occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And she was we were with her and her husband at the time, and she what was she saying? She was saying that like one night she was leaving the theater in our town, and she had to go like to her car. She was with her husband, but her husband was like walking a few steps before her. And
Mm-hmm.
this guy like came up around the corner, and she started walking a lot faster, and her husband was like, "What the hell? Why are you walking fast?" And
Yeah.
like, and he didn't get the fact that it was because of that dude. And she was telling me that story, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, I know exactly what you're talking about. I do the same thing
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't know what someone is going to randomly assume. Like, I've had people
Uh-huh.
like in my own like in my hometown call the cops because I was walking down the street in the wrong like in quote unquote the wrong neighborhood, in that like
Yeah.
it looked
And
like I shouldn't be in that neighborhood.
that's insane. Like,
It absolutely is. And like it's funny because it's actually funny because another time I was in the My Favorite Murder like Facebook group, because of course I fucking was, because I stay in that fucking group, and I don't know
uh-huh.
why I'm still there, but um there's this one time where there was a white woman in that group that was like telling me that I had absolutely no way of understanding how like how it felt to walk out at night and be afraid for your own safety. And I
Um,
was like, darling, I'm a
uh,
black man in America. What the fuck do you
right.
mean I don't know that? I'm like, what? Like, and I'm almost like, no, I'm afraid to do that in broad daylight because lately, I don't know if
Right.
you've seen the fucking news, but they just be shooting us for no damn reason in the middle of the damn day. So, like,
Right. With
woo,
no repercussions.
exactly. So,
Like,
like, so what my whole point with that is, you know what? Let us band together and solve this shit. We need to come
we
together because fuck these
women
people out here.
women and black people need to overtake Congress as soon as fucking possible because
Woo!
this shit has gone on long enough.
Yes, queen.
We're
Except
sick of it.
yes, queen. Except we all have some people to take care of. Like for example, technically half of the Trump family and Kellyanne Conway, because they technically fit, even though they're demons, and I'm not,
That's true.
I don't want to count them, but they do kind of count. So
I
now I got
think
some
that if
people
they
to
were
take care of.
I
But
think that if they were surrounded by other women and black people and gay people and we all just like all touched them on the forehead at once, then their cold dead hearts would like melt and be brought back to life. It's just we need to exercise them is basically what I'm getting to.
yes, I'm ready for that fucking exorcism. I will be there.
We
I
need to
will
bring out the
be
demons.
there. Woo! The power of Christ and all of the gays compels you, honey.
This spokeswoman is clean.
God damn it. That made me
That
so
needs to
happy.
happen.
Woo! Alright. We're gonna have to schedule the exorcism. We'll figure it out.
I'll put one on the books.
I love it. I love it. Saving the damn world.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you the three questions that I ask everybody because I love these questions. They are kind of random, but they do tend to what's the word? They tend to like reveal a very interesting part of people's personality in that like people don't think about these things super often, or some people think about them all the time. It's like kind of really crazy. But the first question is, what is a food dish that reminds you of home?
Food dish that reminds me of home. I would say my mom's egg bake. It's like it's basically a hot dish. Harkens back to my roots. But it's eggs, black beans, red peppers, onions, kind of all mixed and a bunch of cheese and hash browns, all mixed together, put in like a casserole dish, and then the secret is to make that when you're drunk the night before, like really late at night, because then, measurements don't really count.
Mhm.
And actually, the last time I made this with my mom, we were drinking, and I was watching her put the pepper in, and it was like, it must have been like a quarter cup of pepper. It was so much pepper, and the egg bake turned out great.
That is wonderful. I have never once had that in my life, and it sounds
Oh,
so good.
I'll send you the recipe. It's so good. I request it every time I come home. We have that on Sunday mornings when we're all a little bit hungover, and Kenyon and Amanda and Scott have probably slept over the night before. And we have mimosas and egg bake. So you make it the night before and then cover it and put it in the fridge, and you just throw it in the oven the next day, and it's wonderful.
Oh, I love that.
And
Okay.
eat it with salsa. Hmm.
Ooh, girl, yes, honey. Okay, I'm having that. I'm having that.
Mhm.
It's going to
I'll
happen.
send you the recipe.
Yeah.
You have to be drunk when you make it, though. That is
That
actually
will
the key.
not be complicated.
It's in the recipe.
Be intoxicated.
Calls
I
for
may-
6 ounces of vodka, which doesn't go into the dish.
I may have to be like I may have to read the recipe on the episode, like prior to the. Okay, I tend to do like little 10 to 15 minute like things. It sort of forces me to write because I haven't been writing a whole lot lately.
Uh-huh.
And like I just sort of read that into the microphone, and that
Yeah.
tends to go before each episode. But I think what might have to happen is I may just need to get completely fucking drunk and read the recipe.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So there it is. I'm gonna do that.
Also, the recipe for the cocktail that you're drinking right now. I want that.
Oh yes. Oh honey. Oh absolutely. Oh girl, I'm gonna send that to you in 3 minutes. Like as soon as like 3 minutes after this conversation is over, I am
Yes.
sending that to you. Woo.
I need it. I
The
will
full-
take an Uber to the store to get all the supplies.
Yes.
Because I'm
absolutely.
safe and I don't need a DUI.
Perfect. Absolutely. All right. And the second question is. Fuck, I forgot the second question. Oh my god. Woo! Okay, I remember. What fantasy creature, if you could be any fantasy creature, would you be?
Oh, well, I think we actually answered that in the first part of this segment, and that would be a vampire. Because I've been practicing all my life.
I love that. Oh, so I play D&D on Tuesdays because I'm a mega nerd and I love it.
I love it.
But we started a campaign, and actually, I feel like you will love the character that I created. First and foremost, I'm playing a white woman. Just out of nowhere, I've decided I'm playing a white woman.
With a bold red lip.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it.
A white
I knew
woman,
it.
bold red lip, partially because she's a vampire, but also because she is like it's set in the 1920s in 1920s Chicago.
Oh my god.
Yes. So she is the classic like film noir femme fatale
Mm-hmm.
and a serial killer.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, but she only kills abusive husbands.
Yeah.
Like that is literally it. Abusive husbands that are also in the mob.
There's a lot of strong characters happening in this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like that's so she in the last like game that we played, she another character wound up getting turned. Like I got turned two sessions ago. She got turned this last turn, and I was helping her figure out the transition. God, that sounds that sounded like she was trans, and that's not what I meant. But anyway, she
Transitioned into a vampire?
yeah, that's exactly it. So she she had oh god, what did she have to do? She had to eat something, And she then told me that her husband was abusive, and the scene that played out was weirdly the most dominatrixy scene I've ever done ever, with a whole lot of like humiliation, and it was like kind of insane. There
Oh my
was
God.
heel licking at one point, like that was
Oh.
like and then we killed him by like forcing him to like bleed into a wine glass, and then we
Okay.
cheersed after.
Oh my God. So good.
I just need to type up the whole thing because it was so fucking crazy. And I like got my life after that whole thing. I'm like, yes, this was the best. And I'm like, I am still a dude. Like, I don't know why that whole thing played out. I'm like, ooh, I'm just a
But you're
traitor
like,
to my gender at this point.
but you're like oddly fulfilled after that.
I felt so fucking good about it. Like, I genuinely did. I'm like, yeah, fuck him. He deserved to die. Fuck that motherfucker.
Fuck yeah.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
That was so good. If only that were real. No. Well, ooh, I don't know. That would also then imply that vampires are also real, which would be a little problematic, and I would definitely have died by now. But anyway.
Okay, I would venture to say that mermaids are also not real. And look, it is part of your reality. So life is what you make it.
You know what, that is true, because I do have someone who while she is not a professional vampire, because I'm pretty sure that does not exist, she has made that her lifestyle. So like,
Oh, I like it.
yeah, very vampy, and well, obviously that's literally what the word is. But anyway, yeah. Oh man. Okay,
But
so
if you want to be a white female vampire, you just do it. You just go for it.
and then,
You can achieve your dreams, your DD dreams.
you know what? Yes, I love it. Oh my god. So, okay. So now for question 3. And this one is really a fun one to think about. And it is. So, superheroes, by and large, have a whole lot of really interesting powers that are helpful for saving the world or whatever. But I want you to come up with the superpower that you would have that just made your life specifically better.
Oh,
Other
without
than-
helping anyone else.
Yes, other than teleportation. Because that's way too easy.
Yeah, that'd be way too easy. I would like to be able to stop time, like stop the world from spinning, but I am still active, so I can get my house clean, all my grocery shopping done, all my extra work done, and then like snap my fingers and like things just start going again. I'm like, oh, my bike is fixed. How convenient. Like,
I love
I just need more time. I just need more time. Also to sleep. It would be wonderful to sleep for like 12 hours every night. Oh my god.
Yes. Oh my god.
And then
that'd be so
I could still like quote unquote get up early to work out.
I would never be late again if that was the case. Woo!
I know, right?
I like suffer
That's what
from
I would
that
do.
like weird black stereotype where like we are always late. Like I am not helping my race in that regard. I'm like late for everything.
I'm late
apparently.
for everything.
It's apparently an African thing, more specifically, or a Jamaican thing. No, it's just a black thing, apparently. Like, it's an African thing. No, it's a Jamaican thing. No, it's really just black, to be completely honest with you. I am always late. Like, oh my god. Like, I'm surprised this recording started on time. And honestly, the only reason it started on time is because y'all called me. So
We'd still be waiting if we couldn't figure it out.
Oh my god. Woo!
So
I like
good.
that answer,
Oh
though. The need for extra time. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's only to get all my fucking laundry done.
Oh
like,
my god, that is so real.
Mostly just housework that I just need extra time in the day. I don't even have kids. Like, this is gonna be an issue if I choose to procreate. Like, okay, well, that laundry's out the window. I'm just gonna buy new clothes every week. It would be easier than doing laundry.
I am ashamed to say that I genuinely have done that before. To be fair, it was in college where I was like, I could wash these, but they will charge me $7 to do that. So fuck
Right?
that. What I'm gonna do is just buy a whole bunch of new shit. Because that monetarily made more sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, if undies are on sale,
The fancy kind, damn it.
the fancy kind, the lacy kind.
That reminds me. Oh my god. Oh god. This is a part I'm gonna have to cut, but it's kind of funny. I'm like, ooh, I value my job at this moment, so hang on. Found a pair that was similar but a little bit more conservative, and bought them. So
More conservative mesh men's underwear.
Yep, in that they have like a front pouch that's not like see-through.
Oh.
Basically. And now I have them because they arrived like 2 days ago, and they are the best thing that I've ever had in my life.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous. Please wear them under like pants and then let your pants kind of sag. And next time someone asks you if you work at the grocery store, just lift your shirt and be like, bitch, do I look like I work at this grocery store? I am wearing mesh panties. Fuck yourself.
I may need to leave that story in just for that last part. I love that so much. Oh my god! Like, do people that work in grocery stores also are also strippers on the side? I'm like, well, the answer to that question is yes, actually.
The kid who actually does work at the Radio Shack is like, well, I got mesh underwear too.
You know what? Because I knew him and I went to college with him, or not college, I'm sorry, high school with him. You know what? He probably does too. He kind of freaky. But anyway. That's the weird thing about being in a small ass town. I'm sure y'all can
know people's fetishes, or you have a good guess.
I just be knowing these things. I'm like, honey, I talked to all of your ex-girlfriends, and oh no, bitch. I've also seen all of the nudes that you've sent them. Not the price, but like the perks of being the gay best friend is that, no, I've seen all of my friends' nudes. I'm like, so they'll be coming to me.
So much dirt. So much dirt.
My dude friends will come to me and be like, "Oh no, we're having this problem," and I'm like, "Honey, you've had problems for a very long time, and it started with the fact that with what you're working with, she ain't never had an orgasm, not once."
And you know that for a fact.
And
that was girl talk sesh. Like, there was no lying happening.
Exactly.
No exaggeration.
They're like, oh, I faked it every time. I'm like, honey. I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah.
I just have that information on like so many people, which is a little upsetting. But
you basically have a Rolodex of dirt on all of your friends. You'd be like, oh, Frank's coming over. Let me just flip through and see what I can hold over his head. Okay, here we go. Tiny dick.
The next time this motherfucker has something to say to me, I have
that
documented
card.
Evidence. If only I were that evil.
I got my first dick pic the other day, unsolicited dick pic.
Oh my god, really?
And it was because I checked my Facebook like spam inbox folder for the first time in literally ever.
Oh,
and
no.
Some guy had just written, "Hey, sexy, SEXI," and then sent a photo, which when I first looked at it, I thought it was a peanut. Is it? Oh, that's a dick. Oh, that's cute.
Oh my god. Oh no.
And I told my husband that, and we've been together for 10 years, so before like even smartphones. So this was like my first dick pic. I was excited and kind of flattered, but in a feminist way. I told Corey, I was like, I got a dick pic, and he's like, from who? And I was like, oh, it's just in my like Facebook like spam folder. In my mind, that explained that I didn't actually know this person. But to him, he's like, no, but there's a name attached. What was his name? And I was like, it was just random. He goes, what was his name? And he was like flipping out a little bit about it. I'm like, I don't know. It was some guy in like, I don't know, in some province in India. Who knows?
Sweet shit. Oh my god. That is the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. My god. Like,
I wanted to like show someone, but actually when I opened it, I was in a meeting at work. I'm like looking up at it, trying to figure out if it was a peanut or not. And then I realized what it was and like, ooh, better shut this down.
The fact that you couldn't tell what it was at first is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I couldn't. It was not a good photo. It was blurry. And also it was just like the tip. I don't know.
Okay,
it was like not
was he flaccid? Is that why you couldn't tell? Like,
it might have been flaccid. I have no idea. God. It was just it was just the tip.
Oh my
and
god.
blurry. And it was dark. Thought it was a peanut.
Oh, that's the worst. God damn. I apologize on behalf of all men, but specifically the ones that don't know how to take a good dick pic. I have seen my fair share of excellent ones. As a gay man with Grindr, I have seen my fair share of these.
I can't really picture what a good dick pic would look like, though, to be honest with you.
Quite honestly, it depends on the subject, but then also it just has to look right. Like, that's the dumbest statement I've ever said, but it has to be like a structurally sound picture. And also, conveniently, a structurally sound dick, because let's be real.
Yeah. Well, you're just asking for disaster.
Oh my god. Like, I have a friend who I'm literally going to see tomorrow. It was very pretty and well groomed, which is another key important thing.
I would agree with that.
if that is a thing that fucks up so many pictures. If it is not well groomed,
yeah.
My god. Ooh, the science of a good dick pic. It has to be well groomed, the lighting has to be good, and the angle has to be good too. Honestly, the best shot is the overhead shot.
Well, how many other shots really are there?
The one from underneath where you also see the testicles, and that's not a good one.
Oh, we don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Not
oh
a
my
single...
God.
The only people that want that are gay men that have a weird fascination with testicles. And I don't understand these people. I know these people, but I don't understand them.
They're fascinating in that I don't own a pair, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on in there? Like, what is this made out of? I don't understand, like structural wise, as we were talking about. Like, how does this work? What's in there?
Oh my god! I had a sentence pop into my head, and it really is fucking with me right now. It looks like a reject Dolce and Gabbanna handbag.
That like got stuck in the sewing machine.
With unnecessary ruching along the...
Right, the ruching.
Since every
lots of loose threads.
Since every single one of them is wrinkly. All of them. Every single one. Like, you just want to be taking an iron to them and just iron out the wrinkle. Ooh.
Oh my god, the ruching.
Sweet shit. My god.
But also, the lighting could never be good on one of those undercarriage shots. And also, you wouldn't want the lighting to be good. So,
no, never.
There's no winning.
Oh, you know what? The other shot that is good is from the side, but that only works if you have a giant dick. That's the only the only time that works. Only time. If you have a giant dick and it actually manages to stand up on its own, because at a certain point it becomes too big to do that.
Oh, so is it desirable or not to stand up on its own?
It should, if it cannot stand up and point basically straight out while a person is standing up, then it is going to most likely be painful for everyone involved.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like a coat hook.
It... yes, exactly. God,
If you can't hang your hat on it, get it out of here.
and you know what? That's a great test too. Now just
Like, excuse me, let me go get my fedora.
now there's just going to be a
check.
bunch of dudes. What's now going to happen is we are both going to get a bunch of dudes that are going to send pictures of a hat in front of their junk and be like, "It hangs."
Oh
like,
no! Oh no!
How much better would that be, though? That would actually improve my day, but only if it's a shot of like from the front, and they just have the fedora hanging off. Like that's a perfect photo to send anybody. Actually, I think that's fine.
We could turn it into a game, like how many hats can you stack on your dick, and it'd be kind of like Jenga or like Barrel of Monkeys, you know? Like, see how many you could do.
Oh my god, also side note, I forgot about Barrel of Monkeys as a game until just now. My god. Oh, I used to play that all the time.
Barrel of Monkeys.
I loved that game. I had so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Switching over to children's toys immediately from dick pics. That's very funny. Oh my god.
And you're a teacher, and that's okay.
It is perfectly fine.
You have many facets.
Okay, so on this, I always go by, all of my things are under Myxter Hyde, specifically so that my students don't find any of my shit. But
that is a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. But the problem is, and this happened to me the other day, I've mentioned in some of the YouTube videos what my name is. So I had
like
a student,
first and last.
Yeah, primarily because but in those cases it was things I was okay with, like the first time I swam in my new tail costume, like that, like on that kind of thing. So like my name will be in the taglines there. If someone were to Google me, that'll come up. Because I totally want someone to see that. I just don't want anyone to see what else is on the channel, and I forgot about that. So, there's this kid who I teach 6th grade, which is my favorite grade, by the way. Because,
that's a good grade.
Oh yeah, they're naturally funny at that age, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because puberty has just started and not a damn thing makes sense to them. Like, I don't know, I'm starting to grow boobs and nothing makes any sense.
And I'm so angry at my mom and I don't know why.
And I'm just crying every 3 minutes because the sky is blue. I don't fucking know. And I literally love them because they don't understand what's happening, and it's the best thing.
Oh. Well, you kind of have to, like, guide them into, rationality at that point.
Absolutely, and that's what I usually do. I'm, like the class I teach specifically is, like, a leadership, it's a diversity leadership program that also has a lot of positive psychology influences.
Oh, that would be my favorite fucking class as a 6th grader. Oh my god, I love you.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Every single student, I have them. This is a little like weird little teacher trick to like make any teacher's life better. Literally sit them down and have them write down what their favorite part of the class was, and save all of those and read them when you're sad. Oh my god.
Yes.
I created, like, with one lesson, I accidentally created, like, a, like, mini activist a couple times. Like,
nice.
Because I have a class on race and a class on gender. And...
In 6th grade? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and they handle it real well, too. Like, they're amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think that we give kids a lot less than what they can handle in general. So that's so cool that you're introducing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can totally take it, and they are totally aware of that.
Mm-hmm. I had a real great conversation about what to call RuPaul today, which was really funny. Yeah, like it was
like
really
pronoun-wise?
Yeah, well, in general, like, what is the correct label? I mean, the answer is pretty easy, and it's drag queen because, but because it's RuPaul specifically.
Right.
But, like, if we encounter someone who's, like RuPaul, but not quite the same, what do we call them? And the only answer to that question is literally ask them. They will tell you, and
Yeah.
then just remember that answer.
Yeah.
Done. Like, that's the end of like the
Right.
like, and they love that, and they like getting like those little tools of like, oh, that's how you hack the system. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that's literally it.
You're
Like,
straightforward about it. You don't need to be sly.
I think the easiest thing, ask a motherfucker. It's fine. Like, they gonna
Right.
tell you. It's
Right.
Yeah. And like I said that, and like the teacher behind me was like, huh. Like they didn't think about that. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like,
Right.
grown ass adult behind me that didn't know this. I'm like, it's the easiest fucking thing, and I've also said it multiple times in front of
Yeah.
this person. And I'm like,
Well, I also feel like this around this time there's so much more different aspects of gender that is out in the open, and it's being more and more acceptable. But if you were to ask the same person, probably the teacher who was standing behind you, it's like, oh, if you were to ask them in like 1982 what you would call RuPaul, it probably wouldn't be as easy as just ask them. Like,
yeah, absolutely, for sure.
of course, people assume that they're going to be offensive, but really, if you're transgender or if your gender is a little bit androgynous, and maybe you must be used to people not knowing how to address you. So I would think that people would be appreciative of a person who they just met saying, "Hey, what pronoun should I use? Like, what's your preferred pronoun?" Get it over with, and then they don't need to ask you again, and you already know that your mind is open to, not calling them something they are not appreciative of, or like worse,
Yeah, exactly. And that's
the times.
wonderful thing. I'm so happy that times are changing and that they're just so open to it, because my God, like, growing up black and queer and in the middle of this weird ass place where like everyone's like, don't ask questions, and I'm like, girl, ask me literally anything and I will tell you. Like, it's the easy.
Right.
Like, I
Let's
have
just
no
get
issue.
it out of the way, clear the air.
Exactly. Oh God, it's the best. It's the best when I get to be like, hey, thing you didn't know because I didn't expect you to know it, to be completely honest. Like, here you go. Like, it's fun. Like, oh man. But yeah, so the kids love those moments, and like, I had a, oh God, I love talking to the kids. They're so great. But one kid told me that he found my YouTube channel.
Oh no.
And I like almost had a panic attack. But then I remembered there is only one video. First of all, I stand behind anything that I put on YouTube in general.
Well,
like,
you kind of have to.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't regret any of it. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of profanity in the videos, and I'm like,
That's true.
I'm like, can you not watch this around your parents, basically?
Yeah, maybe don't tell your friends about it.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, I don't even care. Like, there's one video where there's a video that's like 28 minutes long, and it's literally me reading someone down for something that they said to me that was so fucking stupid.
Oh no.
Which was like, they accused me of gender appropriation.
What?
It's not a thing. Don't worry.
I don't think it's a thing.
It isn't. Absolutely,
Okay.
It's not a thing. But they tried to play it like it was a thing, because I called them out on cultural appropriation. And they got very mad.
What would even be gender appropriation? Like a man adapting traditionally female characteristics? I don't know.
Said basically because I wear makeup on occasion.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Get the fuck out of town. Yeah, you can write them off.
Yeah, so I read them for filth because I had no choice but to do so on my YouTube channel, and I, like, admittedly, the amount of profanity, and also because reading as an art is well, vicious. And it's vicious, and it's going to be painful, and it's also going to mean that I insult someone personally while I do it. Because
just what's gonna have to happen. It's fine.
That's any good read. That is any good read. So there were some things that were in there that I was not, that I like. I'm proud of myself for creatively coming up with how to say those things, but I also like don't want a small child to be like, this is totally a thing that I should do all the time. And I'm like,
Right.
no,
My
like,
teacher's doing this. Yeah.
yeah, that would be a little, that was a little awkward. But, I mean, granted, so long as they don't hear about the time that I called someone the bastard child of Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch and Seabiscuit.
What?
Okay, first of all, if you saw this girl's face, that is
Oh my
an
god.
accurate description of her face.
Of Lilo or Stitch?
No, Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
So
which one's that?
the alien dude that was always anxious about everything. He only had one eye.
Oh, the yellow one?
Yeah, you
Was it
remember.
yellow?
Wait, was he? Fuck, I
I
don't
don't
remember.
know.
He
I
he
remember
was like
a one-eyed
commander or whatever, and he
Yeah.
had like weird hands, and he had like 4 legs, I think. I don't
Yeah.
know, he was a little crazy, but anyway, so he looked like that. Her face looks like him, and also she got horse teeth too.
Oh, no, honey. It's okay.
Oh, darling. But she had that one coming. Really, to be completely honest, like that one I didn't do on YouTube. That one was in Facebook comments, so they will not see those. But
Yeah.
they exist, and they were so funny. I was on fire that day, actually, because I didn't stop there.
I'm not even sorry.
Like, there were more. I'm like, damn, I need to write this down. Ooh. Like, I'm gonna go with a creative thing. I'm like, creative insults 101. Woo.
I'm on fire.
I feel so fucking good about
That
it.
is amazing. Oh my god, you should feel so good about that.
I do. I so do. Oh my
It's
God.
on my resume.
I would
Put it on your
I would be that
LinkedIn
guy.
as like an accomplishment, a project on your LinkedIn.
Through the best shade. Oh, as a new skill, shade throwing.
Oh, shade tossing.
Why is that not a skill on LinkedIn already? I'm mad about it.
I know. We should probably make it one.
We will make it one. I'm going to call and complain. Or rather, more accurately, I'm going to call any white woman to call and complain.
I'll call and complain for you.
Fabulous.
I'll be your avatar. I'm not a vampire, but I can put on some red lipstick and I will be your avatar.
I love this conversation so much.
I know. I'm having so much fun.
We have hit the 2 hours and 20-minute mark, which is higher than
Oh my
than I had
We should-
planned. Oh man. Oh my.
Well, does that do it for your questions?
It does actually.
And
It
then
did,
some.
like a while ago, but yeah.
Okay.
Like a full half hour ago we finished the questions, but like
Okay.
God, woo!
I have thoroughly enjoyed every fucking minute of this.
Yes, this has been so great. Oh my god. Woo! Okay.
I hope you can leave them to. I mean, I hope the editing works out, but
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like I might do this in I might do this as a well, 4-parter actually. Wherein like I do the first part
talk for fucking ever.
well there's that, but then also like because of the technical glitch, it'll be super easy to like cut at that point and be like, and that'll do it for the first episode, and then I do the rest in like sections, and that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it actually works out perfectly fine. It's just gonna
And then
be
you
really
can get
cool.
Amanda too.
Exactly. I'm gonna have everybody on, and it'll be wonderful. It's great.
I love it. I love it.
Woo!
Thank you, Kenyon, for having the worst internet in the world.
Yeah, well, I've actually been like staring at my internet this whole time. I'm like, don't you crap out on me, internet. Don't you fucking do it. Like, my internet's not bad. It's just on the other side of my house.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like, well, hopefully this stays, but oh, yeah, it's held up decently.
I purposely set up my router like right next to where I usually record.
Mm.
And then I also had, because I used to record a little bit farther away, and then Corey would like play video games or whatever while I was recording. And that didn't work. I had to make him stop doing that. I can be kind of a bully.
Aw, that happens.
Like,
oh,
no,
you know
no. It's actually preferable if you leave the house entirely.
Actually, that reminded me of a question that I asked. I asked Kenyon this question before, and you were the only person I didn't get an answer for. So, did you watch Harry Potter?
No, not really.
Or
I
read
read
the book? Okay.
I read the first 4 books and then I
Okay.
stopped because I'm not super into like sci-fi. And although we played Immortals throughout my entire childhood, I think when I, broke through like 8th grade, like I lost interest and started reading other things. So I don't think I ever saw any of the movies and I didn't read past 4.
Okay, that makes sense. That's totally fine. The question
That's
that
why
I
I
had
give
asked...
Amanda so much shit for it.
It happens. But the question that I had was was what Hogwarts house you were in?
Oh, so I don't know that.
See, I figured
I
you wouldn't
feel
have answered that, but
I feel like I would be in like Hufflepuff just because they seem pretty nice.
that's fair.
I don't know. I couldn't even name all 4 of them. There's Slytherin, Hufflepuff. What are the other ones?
The main one that Harry Potter's in?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Gryffindor and
Griffin.
Ravenclaw.
Oh, I kind of want to be in Ravenclaw though, because they're kind of naughty. Aren't they like one step up from Slytherin? Like on the evilness scale?
Sort of. In terms of evilness, yeah. I am a Ravenclaw. So I would put us in the category of we're the smart but cold bitches sometimes.
So yeah, okay. I'd be a Ravenclaw.
We also tend to be artsy.
Outwardly, I'm a Hufflepuff, but I think inwardly, I'm a Ravenclaw. And I say this with virtually no way to back it up.
That makes a whole lot of sense, though. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it for sure.
You see right through me.
Oh God! Now Nicki Minaj is playing in my head. Ooh.
Oh God, lucky.
And I didn't even drink the Moscato. I also should mention that when I finished the drink earlier, there was another half of that drink that I like a half of a glass of the drink, and I drank that, and I have been so drunk just off of that. Like that was literally it. Like that was it. I stopped drinking 2 hours ago, and I'm still so drunk.
I haven't quite gone through my big ass Greyhound, but it's only because I have to pee so fucking badly again that I'm afraid to finish it.
That's fair. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it then. We'll call it so you can go pee. All right. Well, thank you.
It was so
much.
Good talking to you.
Oh, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry again if we offended you momentarily about being a mermaid, because I had no fucking idea. And I really, when you were talking about, coming out as gay or, whatever, it's well, you came out as merman, and I feel like I took it pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody handled that perfectly.
I was
no,
beyond
it was perfectly
impressed.
fine.
If you have any pod posse shirts or whatever they were, what were they?
Pod
goals. I like pod goals.
I like that too, actually. I might design that, and that might... I'm just going to have to make a merch store, and that's going to have to be in it.
And it's going to be merch, MER-CH. I'm on it.
Oh my God, I'm writing that down right now. My God, how did I never think of that? My God, I can't believe I never thought of that. Woo!
if you need any more puns, you come to me because I literally write for a living and I love puns and alliterations. I'm here for you.
I'm I'm gonna call you whenever there's a pun. Like, just absolutely. Oh my god. Whenever there is one, and that whenever I hear one, I'm going to send it to you. My little sister, she's 13. She has a tendency of like looking things up on Instagram, finding these weird flower puns. Or like she did this the other day. Yeah, like there was this I don't even know what was happening. This was specifically the other day. She finds like puns in general and she loves them. But the other day she found a bunch of ones that were about flowers. It was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. And I was like, you know what, little sister, you are 1000% fired because I cannot deal with this. It was so many of them, and it was like back to back. And I'm gonna go ask her, and I'll have her send me some so I can send them to you because they're so funny.
Please do. And I need to give you my phone number so we can text each other puns.
Yes. I'm giving my number as soon as I hang up this call. Absolutely.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh my god.
Yes.
This has been so incredible. Thank you again so much.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on. Woo!
Anytime. I will come back at any time.
Yes. Yes, whenever I think of new sections to add, like defending your faves, I will.
Exactly.
Keep that up, absolutely. All right. Well, I will let you go then. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Right,
bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind doing so, how about you share this podcast with a friend? I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Or I hope they will anyway. While you're at it, I would love it if you could give me a review on iTunes. It helps people find the show, and I would really, really appreciate that. Don't forget that you can follow me on Twitter at Myxter Hyde and on Instagram at MerPrinceJV. And you can also check me out on Patreon, where you'll find some really cool things. I could definitely use some Patreon support so I can make this show even better and even more interesting. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in about a week. Stay safe, stay cool, and stay strange, listeners.